Hello, Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer, functional aesthetics EC, helping average guys perform better inside and outside the gym. So in today's video, I want to talk about, as the title was alluded to, common mistakes that guys make when they're trying to lose body fat. And number one is going to dietary extremes. So they're either eliminating all the fat out of their diet, they're cutting all the carbs out of their diet, or they're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and lean meats, and thinking that this is going to help them get that ripped physique that they want, right? Now, there's nothing wrong, per se, with fruits and vegetables, lean meat, right? They're all nutritious foods, right? But cutting out starchy foods or things like that is not necessarily the path that you want to go on either. Now, it requires a combination of carbs, protein, and fat, and an ideal combination of those things to produce an optimal hormonal environment, meaning optimal levels of, circulating blood sugar, which is going to influence your testosterone, human growth hormone, things like that, right? Case in point being, there's a big difference between a high school kid or a guy in his 20s and a guy who's 85 years old, right? Also, there's differences between how men look and how women look, and it comes down to hormones. So when you drastically reduce your calories, or you drastically reduce carbohydrates, or you drastically reduce fat, they all influence the hormones, leaving you with suboptimal testosterone levels, which is going to affect your ability to perform in the gym. So the second most common mistake that I see guys making when they are trying to lose body fat is focusing on super intense workouts, right? So maybe they're doing CrossFit workouts, maybe they're doing HIIT training, sprint interval training, doing marathon cardio sessions, all this kind of stuff, thinking that it's going to help them become more lean. Now, one of the problems with this is that high intensity exercise requires more calories. It also requires primarily carbohydrates. And you need a certain amount of carbohydrates to efficiently burn fat, right? Like the old saying goes that carbs burn, or fat burns in the fire of carbohydrates, right? So you need a certain amount to efficiently burn fat. Thing is, you also need to be in a deficit to burn fat, right? And if you go into a deficit by reducing protein or meat or reducing too much fat, you are running the risk of basically you don't have enough protein in there to maintain a positive nitrogen balance in a calorie deficit, right? And so usually where we're reducing the calories from is coming from carbohydrates. If you have the energy to train super hard, you are likely not in a deficit, right? And so that's one of the problems there. Actually, one of the best forms of exercise to get really lean is simply focusing on trying to maintain your strength in the gym, in the lifts, right? And then doing more steady state kind of cardio, walking, cycling, maybe going for a jog or something like that to a limited amount. And then the rest of it comes from the diet. Another important distinction that I'd like to make here is that there's a difference between nutrition for health and performance and nutrition for fat loss. So a lot of times people equate healthy eating with weight loss, or equate weight loss with getting healthy. Now, healthy eating can help you to lose some weight by virtue of the fact that healthy foods, whole foods, right, tend to be higher in volume. They have more fiber, right? Usually they'll have more proteins, and optimal combinations of things, right, which will help you to feel more full, more satiated. You're getting more nutrients. Your body doesn't feel like it has to look elsewhere for stuff. And so inadvertently, you might end up eating less calories when you start eating a healthy diet, and so you will end up losing weight, right? But by the same token, you should be eating healthy all the time, right? You should be, eating primarily whole natural foods just for general health, because you're going to get more nutrient value out of that. Now I know there's people out there and they talk about if it fits your macros and stuff, and it's purely from and so you have guys, they'll be eating, fast food and stuff. Well, I got the right amount of carbs, proteins, and fats, right? But you're also getting unnatural fats in these things, right? And what these fats do is they actually go in there and they disrupt the signaling and the messaging inside of the body. Your arteries and stuff actually become stiffer, and they have less of ability to expand and dilate, so you're getting less oxygen to your muscles, and so this can actually affect your performance as well, and affect a lot of other metrics that are related to blood flow and vasodilation, so on a general aspect there. So it's like, yes, it has the same amount of carbs, proteins, and fats, but we have to remember that food is more than just energy. It's also chemical signaling to the body to produce various different reactions within the body. And so if we're sending in faulty information, you're going to get faulty information out, you're going to get faulty responses and reactions in the body. And the other part of this is that, we've all heard the eat less, exercise more thing, right? Probably since the 80s they've been talking about this. And it makes sense. And there is a portion of truth to this, right? Laws of thermodynamics, right? But simply eating less and moving more, and the reason they're saying move more comes back to that thing about burning more calories. So the last thing you want to be doing, you don't exercise to burn calories. You exercise to build lean muscle and to improve your performance, and in the process you end up burning calories, right? You use your diet to fuel the workout that's going to produce the transformation you want, and to make sure that you're not taking in too much nutrition, right? And so simply eating less calories will cause you to lose weight, right? But unless you are in a sport that has weight classes like boxing, wrestling, MMA, those kind of things, or if you're an endurance athlete where it's advantageous to have a lighter body weight, so there's less wear and tear on the joints when you're running, and you also don't have to expend as much energy going long distances, so it's going to be more efficient. You'll be able to go faster and longer, and with less fatigue if you're lighter, and that's why a lot of endurance athletes want to be lighter and thinner, right? Unless that is the case, weight loss means very little. Most people are, when they say weight loss, they're doing it because they want to look better, right? They want to be leaner. And the only way you're going to do that is with a very specific dietary protocols, right? You have to have a diet that helps you to maintain muscle mass while you're in a calorie deficit, because otherwise what happens is a lot of times when people just eat less food, they end up losing total weight, right? So they'll lose muscle mass and they'll lose fat at the same time. And so what ends up happening is they end up being a smaller, weaker version of themselves rather than having that ripped bodybuilder physique, because that requires a different approach to nutrition to achieve that than simply just eating less food. So some of the things that I've shared with you here in this video, you may already be aware of. These things have been around for a while. We know that we want to build muscle to increase metabolic rate. We know that we need to maintain muscle if we want to maintain our metabolic rate, right? We know that building muscle is going to change the shape of your body. We also know that exercise can be used as an accelerator in combination with a diet, right? But you need to get all these different things put together in the right order, right? Because you can have strength exercise, which does certain things. You have bodybuilding type of exercise, which produces certain results. And then you have the cardiovascular exercise. And then you can also do speed and power type stuff. And so HIIT training can be beneficial as well. But you need to use them at the right times and in the right sequence in order to optimize your time in the gym, right? Because a lot of people, what their biggest thing is they just don't have a lot of time to train. And so what I've put together in my Hybrid Strength 101 program is a super efficient way to do this. I combined 4 key strength training styles. So we have your strength endurance, almost like a calisthenic sort of style of training. We have your strength, bodybuilding, right? So more of a muscle size, moderate loads, moderate rep kind of training by and large. And then we have powerlifting style of training. And then we also have speed and athletic agility style of training as well. Now, the way that I combine these together means that you are, instead of spending 3 hours in a gym like a powerlifter, right? Because your total focus is on building as much strength as possible, and you need, because you're lifting all these heavy loads, you need longer periods of rest in between. The way I structure mine is a little bit different so that you can actually maintain that strength. It's not that necessarily that, it really depends on where you're at, right? So if you are a absolute beginner, you will definitely be building a lot of strength in this program. If you're already a power lifter, you will be able to maintain your strength while shedding and getting body fat, getting really ripped, and also staying very strong when you're doing that, right? So the goal of the program is not to build maximal strength. The same thing goes with the bodybuilding aspect of it too, right? So if you are a beginner to intermediate person, you'll likely add more muscle size. If you're already in bodybuilding, then doing traditional bodybuilding workouts is going to be a better thing for you. But again, those tend to take longer, and they also don't develop other aspects of your fitness. So your speed, your agility, your muscular endurance, right, do not get trained with typical bodybuilding workouts. And then the last piece would be that speed and power type training. Now, this kind of training has been shown that irrespective of diet, right? Because we've heard the term abs are made in the kitchen, right? So abs are made in the kitchen, meaning that you can't out-exercise a bad diet. If you are eating a bunch of fast food, you're eating, cake, ice cream, donuts, all this kind of stuff, and then you're thinking, well, I would just work out longer and I would do these extra workouts that burn a lot of calories when I'm doing it, then I can get away with doing that. And that is basically where you're not working out optimally, because the goal of your workout shifts away from training for performance to training just to burn calories, which in the long run is a very inefficient way to train, right? So the exception to this is power training. So sprint training, Olympic lifting, all the jump training, those kind of things have been shown to actually help you burn body fat, especially visceral fat, irrespective of your diet, right? Now, it's not going to lead you all the way to your goals, right? If you want to get ripped, right, you're going to have to watch your diet. And the specific way that you eat, it's not just eat healthy like fruits, vegetables, lean meats, things like that, right? You need a specific combination of foods to help facilitate what you are doing in the gym. The way that you're working out has to match the way that you're eating, right? So like, for example, a marathon runner is going to eat a little bit different than a power lifter or a sprinter, right? And so the kind of training that you're doing must also match the diet that you are eating, and this is what I call synergistic nutrition. So this is all things that I talk about and all things that I include in my 16-week Hybrid Strength 101 program. So I'm going to be also coming out with another program in the future, which is more of an intermediate program. So this one is Hybrid Strength 2.0, and then I have an advanced Hybrid Strength program as well. But Hybrid Strength 101 is good for anybody who has, been training for maybe 1 to 2 years in the gym. They have a good base of fitness, or even complete beginners, right? So the reason why the hybrid, so if you have the beginner, it would be good for, because then it's kind of wetting their feet. It's getting them into the process of training. It's leading them from lower intensity forms of training to progressively higher and higher forms of training. People who have more experience in the gym, it's going to be more beneficial for them to do some of the more advanced hybrid strength training protocols, because this is going to help them maintain their fitness in a very short window of time, right? So actually I designed this style of training when I was working a full-time job, and I was also going to college full-time at this, and so I didn't want to allow my fitness to slide at that time, and I didn't have as much time to warm up when I got to the gym. I didn't have as much time to work out when I got to the gym, and so I had to figure out a very efficient system for how to get my workouts in 20 to 30 minutes a day. And instead of working out, for like an hour every day, I would work out for 20 to 30 minutes and just spread that out over every single day, which is definitely something you could do. So the program, you have 2 to 3 hours of actual strength training per week, and then you can do some like walking and cardiovascular exercise around that. But if you don't have a solid block of an hour to train in a particular day, it's definitely fine to split that up and just train every day for 20 to 30 minutes, and it'll produce the same results. So if you're interested in that, drop hybrid in the comments below, or I will also include my the link to my booking calendar in the comments below as well. And so if you're interested in finding out more about hybrid strength training, definitely go ahead and give that a look, and I look forward to chatting with you.